Hello everyone, I'm so happy you're joining me. My name is Lacey McKinney and my exhibition at the Everson Museum is titled Reconfiguration. It's called that because all of my work has some aspect of collage and rearranging parts of an image to form a new whole. So in this video I'm going to be demonstrating a technique I use in Adobe Photoshop for digital collage. I often use this as a form of sketching in my ideation process, but it's also great for creating finished work as well. So for example, this is a final finished work. It's a cyanotype collage. And so when I'm making this, I'm often looking at a sketch that I've done in Photoshop beforehand as a guide or a reference. So the same goes for a finished work like this. This is acrylic and oil on a panel. And so sometimes I'm looking at one or more different sketches that I've done digitally in Photoshop. I'm looking at them on a screen or maybe printing them out. So what you'll need if you want to follow along with the demonstration is 2 or more images. They could be original or they could be appropriated. So in other words, if they're original, maybe they're a couple, 2 or 3 photographs that you took yourself, or maybe it's an image of a painting or a drawing that you've made. You could also scan or photograph an image that you find in a magazine or a book or packaging, and you're going to be changing it a lot to make it your own. So we're going to be combining 2 or more images. You'll also need Photoshop downloaded on your computer. So if you don't want to purchase it, there's also a free trial that you can download. So here's an example of a digital sketch. So this is a preliminary sketch. It's not a final work of art, but you could make it into your own final work of art if you want. So you could have it to post on the web or you could print it out. Hopefully you'll share your finished work with us so we can see what you've made. So these are images that I've taken from different magazines and old photographs. This is an original photograph that I'm going to use today for our demonstration. This is a flea market photograph that I found. This is a cyanotype, a photograph that I've taken of one print that I'm going to combine to make a multiple image collage. And then this is also another cyanotype. So you're going to start with a base image like this. And to combine 2 or more photographs, first open Photoshop. I'm already in Photoshop here. And I have my other image open. And I'm going to have my tools palette up. You can see on the left, these are all my tools. On the right, my layers palette is up. Photoshop is always working with layers. If you don't see your layers or your tools palette, on the very top menu bar, you're going to go to Window and make sure Layers is checked off and make sure Tools is checked off. So now I'm going to copy and paste one image and put it into another image. So you're going to go to Select All, Edit, Copy. And then you'll go into your base image and Edit, Paste. So this puts your image and combines it into another layer in your file. You'll notice you're able to scale your image. So if you're on the top Move tool, if I hover over any of my tools like I am here, it tells me what it is. It's the Move tool. If I grab the corner, I can scale this up or down. So I'm going to scale this up and then hit Enter to finalize it. And in your layers palette, you can also turn off the visibility of the layer. So on top right now is the layer that I've pasted in, and on the bottom underneath it is my other layer. So right now this layer is locked, so I'm going to click the lock to unlock it, and this way I can kind of move it around if I need to. So we're going to be using masking. So masking is, think of like masking tape. So if you applied a piece of masking tape over part of this face, it would conceal it. So in masking in Photoshop, black conceals and white reveals. So right now, if you see on my tools palette, I have the black and white. If you don't see black and white, if you press the D key on your keyboard, that's default black and white. I'm going to go to the layer on top and go to the bottom of the layers palette and hover over the third icon in, which is my layer mask. So you'll see it says add layer mask. So if I click that, it adds a mask to that top layer. So now if I use my brush tool and I'm on black on the foreground, anything that I paint with black will conceal my top layer, and then it will reveal what's underneath it, my bottom layer. So you can see the bottom layer starts to emerge. Now, if I press my arrow key and flip the white on top over here, the white will then reveal again the layer and the mask that is linked to that layer. So you can go back and forth and experiment by going over to black and white and then revealing parts of the image and concealing parts of the image. So that's one way to do it. You could also use your selection tools. So if I go to my polygonal lasso tool, you'll notice if you press down, you have the choice of a lasso, a polygonal, or a magnetic. I'm going to choose polygonal. This will allow me to do a more angular geometric shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on corners and make a shape, and then it's active. And I can go to Edit, Fill, Black. Or I could just use my brush and I can fill it in black that way. And then select, deselect. So that's another way to play around with the mask. If you wanted to use the lasso tool, you can also draw in different shapes, irregular shapes if you want. And so I can use my brush tool and it will only fill in where it's selected. So it'll fill in that shape. So if I'm filling it in black, it'll erase or mask out that top layer. If I fill it in white, it will then again reveal the top layer. So go ahead and experiment with your mask. Now, another way that I'll show you, and I'll just go over to my cyanotypes, to use masking is a paste into command. So if I were to select all and then edit copy, I can go into my other cyanotype and again use a different selection tool. This time I'll use the quick selection tool, and I can select an area of my image. So I selected all of the white here, and if I want to make my selection tool bigger, I use the right curly bracket on my keyboard. If I want to make it smaller, the left curly bracket. If I want to subtract from the selection, I hold down the Option key and subtract from that selection. So now I just have the legs selected. And you can zoom in, zoom out if you need to get more detailed. And I already have my other cyanotype image copied. So now with this selected, I can go to Edit. So that's Edit on the top menu bar, Paste Special, and Paste Into. And then it automatically creates a layer mask where the image is pasted into only that white shape, as you can see on the mask here. Now with the Move tool, you can move that image around and experiment with a different combination there. And remember, you can always click on the layer mask and use your brush tool in the black and white to edit that mask and how it's showing the visibility of your image. So experiment, and when you've finished your collage and you're happy with it, you can flatten your image by going to Layer, Flatten Image, and then File, Save As, and you can save it as a JPEG format. That way you can share it on the web or you can print it out. So I look forward to seeing what you all have made, and I hope to see you soon.